Unified. Week 21, Chapter 21. Becoming a Master of Creation. You have free will, and this can be overemphasized. It squarely places responsibility on you for your life and what you experience. No one can take that away. No one can usurp your free will unless you willingly give them that power. Even that is your exercise of free will, and you can reclaim your power anytime. All that the concept of free will means is that you're free to think whatever you want and you will manifest the corresponding experience. Free to think will manifest. Free will. By now you know you have two choices of the thoughts you can have. Those you create are one of your choices, and those that are part of God's grand thought that created the universe are another choice. Suppose you're hiking through the mountains and you come across two lakes to quench your thirst. One is small, stagnant with pungent stench. The other is large, clear, cool and refreshing. Which one will you drink from? It's of course your choice. Drink from the stagnant lake and your experience will be uncomfortable, maybe even nauseating. Drink from the clean, cool lake and immediately be refreshed. Furthermore, the clear lake gives you energy, vitality, and alertness to carry you on your trip quickly. Its invigoration opens up the new vistas for you to experience. That is the choice you have with your thinking. Choose your limited, fearful, judgmental thoughts, and you experience discomfort, even illness. But choose the unbounded sea of God's thought, and you can only experience God's qualities. You do not relinquish your free will when you freely choose to use God's thought. Quite the opposite. When you choose to think of your fear-ridden creation, you quickly become its slave. You're bound by the boundaries you set up. You experience illness, you experience loneliness, and you experience poverty. You're afraid and you distrust others. You feel fragile and vulnerable. These illusions enslave you. In that condition, you can't continue on the road of life freely making choices and freely experiencing the infinite games of love, abundance, peace, and happiness. God's thought guarantees your free will. Within that thought are infinite right choices. They're right because the choice of thought always leads to an experience of God's qualities. It is everyone's choice to be happy, to be wealthy, to be loved, and to have successful projects. That being the case, there really is only one choice, the choice to dive into the vat of love called God's thought. In that vat are infinite choices for you to play and replay the mighty game of creation with the experience of God's qualities. Don't jump into God's thought and you will experience only what you can imagine. Your choices are limited by your own limited awareness, likely bound up in some fear. You can easily foresee what kind of experience will result. That is the essence of this course. You have learned to correct your thinking. You do it by being unified with your whole self and receiving its guidance. You now know a sure way to find out what thoughts need correcting and how to correct them. You have a sure way of manifesting your true desires. At this point, it's easy to lapse into complacency. Beware. Even with this grand knowledge, you must be ever vigilant and diligent in your thinking. It becomes more and more automatic to be tuned into God's infinite resource of thoughts. However, at this delicate stage, the voice is like an FM tuner that drifts from its station periodically. Unless you stay on top of that tuner, you may start hearing another station without even knowing it. So be diligent in your thinking. Refuse to think anything that is clearly the illusion of your making. A sure sign that you're bound up in illusion is that your thoughts are drifting into the past or into the future. Neither exists. What you remember and imagine took place is at best fragments and pieces. It bears little resemblance to truth. In all likelihood, you're dwelling on it with some fear that it will or will not repeat itself. Fearful thoughts can only give an unhappy experience. The future is just as illusionary. It clearly is your fantasy. Usually your thoughts of the future also have an element of fear that something will or will not happen. Thoughts of the future and the past are sure signs that you're dwelling on an illusion. Get off it immediately and change your thinking. Swing back into the present. Listen to the present sounds. Smell what's around you. Look, it's all exciting. The thoughts of God are only in the present. There you experience His qualities. If you notice thoughts of poverty, snap out of it. Think abundance. Count your blessings. Dwell on all the thoughts and things you have to do. Feel affluence. Only with these thoughts can the experience of wealth manifest. And for heaven's sake, never joke about being poor. If you notice thoughts of not being loved, snap out of it. Send out thoughts of love to everyone and everything around you. Know that you love yourself. Feel that love. Only with these positive thoughts of love can you manifest the experience of being loved. If you notice thoughts of failure in your activity, snap out of it. It's crucial for success that you think success. Visualize that you're presently a successful person in what you're doing. Whatever you're doing at the moment, know that it is successful, whether it's washing the car or the dishes, eating a meal, shopping, or putting together a business deal. For that present moment, know that you're successful. Get in the habit of living successful present moments. Be careful and vigilant not to dwell on the future. Stay only with the present. The future never comes. You must now be ever diligent in your thinking. Whenever you lapse into the illusion, return again and again. Never tire of returning to God's thought. Most of the time, you know when you're not thinking correctly. All this week, give particular attention to this. Practice diligence. You have free will to turn your thoughts and experiences around. Of course, your higher self is there for a helping hand, guiding you now with stronger and stronger intuition. Listen and act on that reliable intuition. Besides your intuition, you may have noticed some physical body signal from your higher self that tells you about a negative thought. It is usually uncomfortable, and when you get it, you just know that what you're thinking or doing is inappropriate. All this week during your quiet period, ask your higher self to feed you your negative signal. Then sit back and experience that sensation, movement, or whatever. Become very familiar with it and allow it to speak to you in your activity from now on. Whenever you get it, immediately make the correction in your thoughts and action that you know is called for. You are rapidly becoming a true master of creation. Your creation is filled with only success, wealth, health, love, and peace. All of God's qualities are yours to experience always. End of chapter 21.